I would say I am the least capable of standing before an audience like you, because I'm talking to current business leaders and maybe future business leaders. But one thing I want to talk to you about, in addition to sharing experience, is that there's nothing you set your mind to achieve that you believe in that is not attainable. I didn't go to school, so I learned through school of life, real experiences of life. I listen to people, I read books that support my aspiration in life. I listened to one guy who talked about, many of you might know about Mount Everest. There are different exploitations that were made to climb Mount Everest, and many of them were not successful. In one of the list, but before the last one that they made a success, the leader of that team led a great team. They were almost there. It started snowing, and they fell. In that process, the leader died. When they were to do his funeral, and they got a lot of group of people to, one of the team member to make, a speech. During his speech, he said, "Mount Everest, you have defeated us the first time. You've defeated us the second time. This third time, you did not just only defeat us, but you kill our leader. But we are making you a promise that you can't grow taller than you are. You can't be bigger than you are, but we will defeat you." In the fourth attempt, he led the team, and they climbed on top of Mount Everest. And that's to show you the inherent capacity God put in a man. The language of the kingdom is that there's nothing impossible. But it's like an abstract. It's like it cannot be true. But go back and check your Bible. Repeatedly, all things are possible to him that believe. If you can dare and believe, you can achieve. I am a living example. My story is so comparing, way out of this world. Because everything school taught you that can make people successful, I didn't have any one of them. I have no education, I have no connection, I have no pedigree, I have no background. But I was determined by simple, my mother looking me into my eyes at the age of 4 and inspire me to greatness that I have achieved in life. The best I knew of my father was a day I saw a man lying lifelessly with a white shirt, with a bow tie, laying in a bed with a black suit. And people were coming into our compound, shooting guns. It was a big festival. I couldn't understand that my mother was one side of the wall, crying helplessly, her hair scattered. I was feeling, what makes this woman angry? Everybody was happy because masquerade were coming, shooting guns, and I was enjoying it. My generation is where we used to eat rice at Christmas. But that day I ate rice about 8 times. And anybody pass again, what will you eat? Rice. We used to fake sickness to eat rice in my generation. But I said, what a wonderful day. Why this kind of day do not stay all the time? It was later in life that I get to know that that was the death of my father. So if you have any reason not to be successful, you don't have a better reason than myself. The death of my father introduced things a little strange in my life because I was young to start making decisions for myself. That's why I tell people, don't cry when you are challenged. Challenge help to get the best out of you, but it's your attitude that actually brings the result. The way you reason, the way you internalize things, your thought process. Every one of us are sum total of what we have conditioned to be based on our thought process. That's why it's important you need to watch who do you submit to, who do you listen to, who do you receive information from. And Bible was very specific about it. How to think, whatever is pure, whatever is good of good report. The things to think, your thinking process. So my mother got me when I was 4, get us to pray Catholic, a really devoted Catholic lady. Pray rosary every morning. You know, kneeling down for a young boy at the age of 4 is a punishment. But my mother will make us kneel down by 5 o'clock every morning. Sometimes we pray Catholic rosary 2 times. So that created the hunger of God in my life. And I grew up with some level of optimism. And I really begin to seek God in my life. Way back in Catholic, they told us that Mary came to Fatima and visited 3 children. I went to the bush at the age of 7. And I was praying that I want Mary to appear. Because I learned he went to Fatima. I said he can come to Newi. So I never really want a second-handed God. I never want, a religion. I wanted to feel God in his reality. I didn't see him, but that didn't stop the hunger. This helped me that by the time I was getting 14, I came in contact with the person of the risen Lord Jesus Christ in his saving grace. And I embraced him, and I've never looked back. So I've been long in this journey of Christian faith. As a matter of fact, before 15, I was clear where I wanted to be in life. I was not daydreaming. When you have a foundation that is solid, it creates vision. Vision makes you to see things that ordinary eyes cannot see. And when you get a vision, you are close to a mad person. If it's a true vision and you believe in it, you will be willing to be misunderstood because you are not looking for people's approval. There's something driving you. So by 15, I have a clear sense of direction where I wanted to be. And I knew I would be successful. But all the route that would take me there, I do not know. Because it's like a journey of a voyage. So I was 15 years when I wrote 5 things I wanted to achieve before I turned 15. I didn't have them in my head. It was later in my life that I get to know that Colin Parr said that a dream without a plan is a wish. You can wish anything, wishful thinking. It does not happen. But at 15, I wrote down what I would do when I was 18. It's like writing a business plan. Because those things you put on paper help you to checkmate yourself, to know. So when you have a vision, it makes you put things in. I didn't have it in my head. I wrote down that by 18, I want to live in 3 bedrooms apartment of my own by 18. Because the way life functions is simple. You said, I want to be a doctor. If you are a student or you are growing up, your analytic thinking creep in and a question is asked, how do they use mouth to become a doctor? You begin to answer the questions yourself. You need to be good in 5 science subjects. You need to be good in maths, extra maths, English. You didn't have it, fine. You are starting because you identify what the problem is. Then you get a tutor. If you are consistent in this way, 7, 8 years from that day, you will become a doctor. You can tell a man or a woman to undress before you, subject to your area of profession. And the person may feel uncomfortable, but if you want to see a doctor, he has to obey you. And, you know, if you do that ordinarily, you will be arrested because you will be abusing people. But when you are got that certificate, it puts you to another level where you can administer health situation to people. I didn't just write down that I want to live in 3 bedrooms apartment. It's a part of journey because I wanted to get a wife by the time I am 20. I wrote it down. Not a girlfriend. Because when you have vision, your vision puts you in prison. My vision was that I don't want to mess around. I don't want boyfriend, girlfriend thing because it will derail me. It will not get me to where I want to be. A vision puts you in prison. A vision captivates you. You are living in a different world of your own. I wrote down, if I take a wife by 20, by the end of my 21, I want to have a son. I didn't say a child. I want a baby boy. I wrote it down. And I said by 23, I want to own my own car. And by the time I am 25, I want to be a millionaire. I wrote them. After I've done my daily business, I come back home. The last thing I looked before I go to bed is that I look at those things from beginning to the end and anoint my spirit on them. Then I go to bed and sleep. Don't tell me that the things you see does not influence you. If you're a healthy man here, put pornography. If your body doesn't change, then you are not seeing anything. It doesn't matter how much you speak in tongue. So the things you see affects you. The things you hear affects you. The things you touch affects you. There are 5 senses to our human body. But your soul, you need 6 sense to get into there, which is faith. So you contact your body by these 5 senses. When that's last thing I look, I go to bed. When I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming. In my dream, I see myself in Japan. I see myself, discussing with expatriates. I see myself getting into running big organization. When I got up in the morning, I pray. After my prayer, the last thing I do before I step out is that I go back and look at those things from beginning to the end. And they are in my mind, and I go out. So when I'm moving in the street, you are talking to me. You don't know the way my mind is working. I just take you without you knowing, put you in that dream. If there's no place you fit there, I cut you off in my life. And people say I'm very proud. I am arrogant. I don't know what they are talking about. I am imprisoned to my dream. That's right. So because whatever you are saying, anything that will not corroborate to support me here is a distraction. And I didn't want a distraction in my life. You do not believe it. By 18 years, I was living in 3 bedrooms apartment of my own, not my father's house. My senior brother was still living with my mother. But I left our home because I have planned for my life. Rented apartment, even though I'm here from Onyewi, but I live as a tenant. And I had planned. Worked very hard, made the first money I made, bought a horn speaker and a microphone for my morning evangelism. I made commitment to Jesus Christ at 14 years plus. I read Bible back to back by 15. I don't understand many things about it. But I had people who coached me, show me how to believe that these things will work. I was not the only one, but I was the one who not just only apply the things I had, but I practice them. There's different thing between apply and the practicing. You can apply something because they tell you you need to pay a tithe for God to bless you. And you pay tithe once. You have applied. But if you do not continue to pay tithe, you are not practicing. So applying and practicing is different thing. Practice is a lifestyle. God don't want a life. He's looking for a lifestyle. In John chapter 8 verse 31, Jesus said to those disciples that believe in him, if you continue in my word, the operative word is the continuity, then shall you be my disciples indeed. I started applying the principles I learned from Bible in my life. Not practicing them became my lifestyle. So, true to the fact, I was 19 years. I saw a beautiful young lady in a church. When we are singing, her voice is distinct from the other people's own. It's not the size of your pocket, which is the money you have. It's the size of your faith. I raised my left hand up. I said, Lord, I claim her in the name of Jesus Christ. My pocket was empty, but my faith was full. There were about 5 brothers competing, but my faith knocked all of them out because I believe she was made for me. True to the fact, on September 23rd, 1978, I will turn 20 on December 24th that year. I took that young lady to altar. So I beat it by 4 months. I married before 20. I was 19 years plus when I got married. I will turn 65 on December 20. I will turn 66 on December 24 this year. And I've been married for over 45 years. So that's the thing. I married a lady, made love to her, what men do to their wife. I wanted a child by 21. But it's not all your vision will happen exactly. Because God knew these 2 babies cannot be making baby. They need to get their acts together. So he shut the womb. My first son came at 26, when I was 26. I pursued the next vision. Every year I come back to check, where am I to where I said I want to be? I passed Oka Road, Mandelas in Onitsha. I saw Passat, blue color, Volkswagen. I went to negotiate it. It has 3,000 kilometers. And I successfully closed the transaction. And I own a car before I turned 20. I own a car before I turned 23. So I was 22 years plus when I bought my first car. I'm trying to see the picture so I can maybe pass it around. You will see Jesus is alive today. Jesus is coming soon. And you see me with my bongo trouser. Because when you see an elderly woman, it's like she never sucked a breast with her mouth. But those are the plans I have. I pursued the next dream. I wanted to be a millionaire at 25. But I made my first 2 million United States dollar at 24. The rest is the history. You come to Nnewi today, the very house where I'm still living today, I built it before I became 25. He knew my house at Nnewi. You ask other people. They call it ultra model. There have never been a house like that. I built that house before I turned 25. So to tell you that the money I'm talking is not a story, it's a reality. One of my life ambition was to own a company in Japan. One of my life ambition was to do a business and go to a place where I will not have financial inhibition to do the things I need to do. These are prayer points. Sometimes you may think, is my head correct? No. The English people who did not know Bible told you that whatever your mind can conceive, you can achieve. There is no limit to God. It depends the limit of your human conception. What can you believe? What can you trust God for? What are you willing to take a step of faith? How many people can kneel down and have faith to pray? Because when you said you don't want to see anything you want to do, that you cannot find, you are saying, I want to be financial independent. That means money is like God on the earth. You want to be really an amateur God. But I made that prayer. And to tell you that I believe in that prayer, when you make a prayer that you believe, it puts you under expectation. Because if you don't know where you are going in life, when you get there, you will not know. That prayer did not become a reality until 2008. And I prayed it when I was 20, 21. It happened maybe at my 38 or 40. And that was when I knew I had a bargaining power. I went to banks that used to lend me money. I asked this one, how much am I owing you? He said, 4 billion. I said, this is your money. I went to the other, I said, how much am I owing you? He said, 6 billion. I said, this is your money. I gave them back all their money, and I said, I don't want any more loan from you. Can you give me my property, my collaterals that you hold? Because you go to bank to borrow money, they ask you to bring your grandfather, bring your grandmother, bring the baby, you collateralize everything. I took all of them. And when I took them all, I said, today, anybody who needs to lend me money will lend me on a negative pledge. Because I have planned. It doesn't happen by accident. A banker asked me what is a negative pledge. I said, negative pledge means I will not pledge anything to you, and I will not pledge to anybody. You will not believe the first bank in Nigeria that lent me money without collateral was Guaranteed Trust. The bank you believe that can never did anything. Yeah. Tayo came to my office in Maza and sat on a deck like this and said, Coscharis, look me into the eyes and tell me I cannot let you down. I looked at him eyeball to eyeball. I said, Tayo, I've never let anybody down, and I'm not about to let you down. But the choice is yours. He said he would do it. Guaranteed Trust was the first bank that lent me money with no collateral. Jimovia waited for 6 months. He didn't see me. 8 months. I told him, sorry, I'm giving all my business to Guaranteed Trust. There are people who are ready to work with my condition. Jimovia joined. Not anybody. Jim was the managing director. He started lending me money on a negative pledge. To the point I could draw 10 billion naira from Zenith. Access Bank waited. After 1.5 years, Access Bank joined. Today, all the banks in Nigeria, including First Bank, including Union Bank, including Standard Chartered, lend me money on a negative pledge. You know what it is? That I don't give you collateral. You give me money any day you want, I return the money to you. And if you insult me, I return it the following day. Central Bank knew Coscharis borrow on a negative pledge. And that's the condition we work till today. And that means I have limited resources to any business that I want to do. There's no business I find legitimate that I cannot raise the money to do it. Being wealthy is not about your own cash. It's about leveraging in other people's funds. Okay? The resources that is available at your disposal. But before God put you in this place, He needs to train you to know you possess the Nigeria, is that they cannot trust anybody. You cannot build an institution by being to A to Z of your company. You've got to take a risk on people. Does that mean they will not steal from you? They will. But some of us will say, instead anybody will steal from me, let me remain this small. But you need to know that when you get people who will help to build this business, things will get lost. If you think people don't steal, we don't encourage people to steal from us. But any system that people break the system, things will go wrong. There's one case about 5 years ago, one of our Abuja manager connived with Zenith Bank account that was open, that was Impress account, made clear that the only check that will enter this account is a check coming from Coscharis, and they cannot accept any other check. And in this check that comes into this account, they will make expenditure. If they need any more money, Coscharis will put it there. Because we don't want to leave cash with branches. So Impress is also a check, but make those managers a signatory. Some of the bank worker that connive with him, when they sell a car, they will take that check. They tell customer, write a check in Coscharis. They will put it into that account and drill. So if a car is sold for 85 million, they will, after they cash the check, they will credit 80 million to Coscharis. They were chopping the profit of 5 million. It gets sweeter. They started chopping the main money, the main whole car. And they created a flood of over £1 billion. Yes. But, you know, if you have system, it will bring the thing up. It was something like an accident. Somebody asked a question, and we knew something went wrong. Of course, I understand the mandate on that account. So we checked the total amount that passed through that account. Already was about 300 million. So we wrote Zenith to return the money. And if they don't return the money, we report to Central Bank. They did not hesitate. They paid us back 300 million. We have recovered over 700 million on that amount. We have not recovered the full amount. People will attempt to steal from you. But you cannot say because of this stealing, you put system and processes in place. It will help to curtail those kind of things. But if you are not willing to take a risk, you have limit to where you can go. It's you write your limit. But how I can't be here and be in Japan. I cannot be here and be in Ivory Coast. I cannot be here and be in Gabon. I cannot be here. Some of these branches, I don't even go there for 1 year or 2. But we have managing directors, managing them an institution. The point I'm trying to make is that you can create something bigger than yourself, but there are inherent risks that follow. But you need to put system and processes in place to create this. How did I become? I didn't go to university, but I did apprenticeship. Apprenticeship is the best university any young man will go. I'm a great advocate of apprenticeship. It's just to find a way to retune it and bring it to current situation where you can interact with it. Because while I did apprenticeship, I worked for my uncle. My mother's junior brother took me to Lagos, and I served him for 6 years plus with no salary. Many of you, that's why I said I don't work for money and I don't pursue money. I worked pro bono for 6 years. I wasn't getting any salary. The condition is that if I serve him faithfully, at the end of 6 years, he will set me up and start my own business. This is the best university anybody can go. It creates unprecedented discipline because you cannot successfully do apprentice without unprecedented discipline. The level of the discipline is not common because there's no agreement written. And remember, in business, you do not get what you deserve. You get what you negotiated. But in apprenticeship, there's nothing negotiated. You are under the mercy of the man. Any day you misbehave, they put you in the next van and send you to the village. That is the end of discussion. So you need to be at the best of your behavior. I haven't seen one person that did apprenticeship successfully that did not become successful. That's why I told you this evening that success is predictable. We could predict it. But the weaker point of apprenticeship is that the man who owns the company gets boys to serve him taught them how to run business. People think we are stupid people when we are doing apprenticeship. No. The people that does apprenticeship are given all the skill to run business. In apprenticeship, we are taught purchase. In apprenticeship, we are taught administration. In apprenticeship, we are taught economics. In apprenticeship, we are taught financial management. Your book must balance every day before you go. Because you sell goods, you write invoice, you bring them down total in every day, so you check the cash that is in draw, it must tally. It is informal university, but we do research in apprenticeship, but not in a formal way they do in university. That's why once you finish apprenticeship, they give you capital. If you did your apprenticeship successfully, you will be successful. Because every rudiment of running business you have, the person that come to university have learned the theoretical part, but he have never had any practical experience. So you are ahead of him. I can tell you on authority, if you go to university and learn business administration or whatever, and you come out today, they give you 10 million naira, and a young man did the apprenticeship successfully for 6 years or 5, they give him 1 million. Give him 2 years, he will be greater than you. Because it's not just that he had knowledge in that business, but he has also created social capital by the people around that interact with. The weak point of apprenticeship is that by the 5th year or 6th, this head boy is mature to run business, to take decision. But apprenticeship micromanage people. Micromanage people in the sense that your boss do not give you free hand and opportunity to put into practice the things you have learned. My boss will import goods, cut the letterhead so I don't know who ship it, cut the unit price so I don't know the price of water. He just tell me, sell water, 3,800, sell phone, 48,000. I don't know whether there's 40% markup here or 30% markup. So even when customer is pricing it with that 8%, I will not sell. I can only sell above the price, but I cannot sell below what is told me. But while I was doing apprenticeship, I was questioning all of this thing. I told myself, when I start my own business, I will not do it like this. When you hear the word innovation, it sounds too big in your head. Innovation is not an invention. Innovation is repackaging, improving in something that is already existed. Something you find a way to make it better, to make it seamlessly. That's what innovation is all about. I was taking note some of those things my boss is doing. But unfortunately for me, in February 28, 1976, I think it was on a Monday, our church, Central Christian Fellowship at Nnewi, we're having 3 days campaign of fasting and prayer. And I have locked up my boss shop to go for fasting and prayer. An average Igbo man, his shop is his religion. If we get customer on Sunday, we open shop. And I lock up shop on Monday to go and pray. On the 3rd day, my boss came and learned that his shop was locked. He asked, where am I? They told him I was in church. He said I should come and see him that evening. And I should come with my senior brother. He counted 200 naira and gave me. My senior brother said, what is this rubbish? My boss was my mother's junior brother. He said, I should leave it, let us go. I turned to him and said, do you have anyone to give me when we get home? He says, no, because I've been taught principle, do not neglect the beginning of a small thing. I know it's not the 200 naira that matter, but what that 200 naira can be in the hand of God. With confidence and faith that I have received from the word of God, I look at my uncle straight into the eye. I said, Uncle, why did you do this? What do you want me to do with this? He said, do whatever you like to do with it. Chebi, you went to church to pray and lock up my shop on Monday. Go to church and pray. I said, Uncle, I was praying for this business to prosper. He said, hey, go and pray now so that your own will prosper. I said, so set me up proper. Apprenticeship is normally your boss will get you a shop. Pay for 3 years or 5 years. Put some goods inside it and give you some cash. Then you become a boss of your own from that day. There was no shop given to me. There were no goods given to me. I asked my boss, I said, this cannot buy 1 carton of plug. Do you want me to buy plug and put it in my head and hawk it like akala? Buy plug, oh, buy plug. Oh. He said, whatever you like to do, do. I said, Uncle, I served you well. I didn't steal from you. And I knew what other apprentices do. That's why when I teach young people, I say, live right so that you can have your confidence. Don't allow any tragic memory to remain in your life. I couldn't have talked to my boss the way I did if I have done anything wrong. I said, I didn't steal from you. I work for you with all my heart. I don't deserve this. Why did you give me? What do you want me to do? He said, I told you whatever you want to do, do. I said, Uncle, if you like, you can make a note. 5 years from today, 5, if you heard who I am, your head will be spinning. He shook him. There are things you don't expect 15 years boy to do. He said, well, I know you will be successful. I said, thank you very much. Because that blessing is what I needed from him. And I went and teamed up with my brother. And we formed a company called Maduka Brothers. And we work together. Within 6 months, we differ in ideology. I have a view how things should be done. He had a contrary view. My brother, we are all Catholic. We are born Catholic before I embraced the gospel. Number one thing that created problem was that on Sunday, if I'm going to church, I go with 1 naira. He told me I cannot be taking 1 naira from our church. When you read my book, From Trials to Triumph, you see it's there. And he confirmed that this is true. Because Ambassador Odo, who wrote the book, went to Newi to interview him. He admitted that that is our breaking point. He told me they give 10 kobo in their Catholic church. I said, no. God will not accept anything that does not cost me anything. Can you imagine? I have capital of 200 naira. I'm giving 1 naira in offering. 1 naira in 1976 is like $2. 1 naira used to be $1.88. It's like $2. So he said, I cannot be doing that. I said, Pius, you drink a beer. How much is a bottle of beer to a Coca-Cola? The money you drank in beer compensates the money I give in offering. If this will bring, he said, let's just separate. I accepted. God's word called for total separation from every unbelief. That is how myself and my senior brother parted way. Today is one of our dealers. And I run and pursue my own course. Let me curtail this to tell you that there's nothing you set up in your mind to do if you believe in it and plan towards it that you cannot achieve. But what shows you are a really entrepreneur is not that you take off, but what you did along the road. Because there are many entrepreneurs like me that got money, buy Mercedes or BMW, build house in Ajegule, and start enjoying their life, and they never move any further beyond that. But what separates me from them is that I have a vision for future. And that vision for future knew that I have to follow some laws, because there is no new law that will be created for me to advance this business. I knew I have to put system and processes in the place. So initially, all these boys that did the apprenticeship from me, everybody come every morning, help me like Bishop. Oh, that's you are the boss. If I shit, they put cow on it and say, this is the way big man shit is. Everybody is praising me. But I decided to go and get people to challenge me. Because if you want to advance in life, you should not build complex. You should submit yourself to people who know like you or even better than you. If you are playing table tennis with people you can beat every time, you will never improve. You need people that will beat you so that you will be improving while they are beating you. But if you want to be at the top where everybody is praising you, you will only be reducing from that point. That's where the need for a mentor comes in. Somebody who can look you straight into the eye and ask you some hard questions to answer. I started making up my mind that I'm going to take this business beyond having a warehouse under a decking. Before I came up, nobody in my village, Newi, we created billionaires, but nobody institutionalized his business. Even Ojukwu Newi, who used to borrow Nigerian government money, the Queen rode in his roasters, come from my village. But he never go beyond that because after Ojukwu died, the business did not continue. But he was the first African billionaire before Aliko Dangote. But where is he today? It's about sustainability. So I understood this, and I wanted to take this to another level. After the first set of apprentices, the first apprentice go, the same thing I said exactly. I will not hire another apprentice. I will replace him with a staff. We are going to bake a big cake where people can take a pile. Everybody can take a pile out of this cake. And I started introducing something that is unique, that we are not in the industry, and people were questioning me. Why do I need to do this? What am I trying to prove? I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, but I need to go by my own leadership. So I started hiring staff. Each apprentice I settle, I replace him with a staff. At that time, I'm not hiring high skillful staff. Anybody who can speak grammar at my level, if you can add figure together, we put you in a cage, you're an accountant. Because I cannot afford to pay certain level of salary. So I hire people at the same regiment where on what I can do. I didn't use computer. I bought 6 exercise books. One is a purchase book. One is a sales book. One is expenses book. One is profit book. So I can tell you precisely how much I earn every day. I can tell you how much I earn in a month. So I decide what can I take as a salary that is enough to keep me. Because I cannot put a salary that will kill the company. Many of you who run business is that you don't have these things in place. So you are saying business is going, you are taking money, you are eating money, you are chopping money, people are coming to collect money from you. The first thing is that you have to separate yourself from the business. The business is separate, you are a different person. I started paying myself a salary. My expenditure comes from that salary. If that money finish, I know I have not anything for that month. I also put my wife on salary, even though we own the company, but we separated ourselves from the business. Any money we made, we put it back into the business because we want to grow that business. And we started structuring the business. My wife, you don't know how disciplined I am. People said, that you cannot be stingy. Saving money is not stinginess. There are different things between stingy and saving. You can run a successful business if you do not learn financial management and discipline of managing resources. It's a key. Because once capital starts coming, there are many acquaintances. Money is like shit. When you lock up the windows, every corner, everything, and you mess inside the land, sometimes you see big fly. Where did it come from? You don't know. That's how money is. Anywhere you have money, people that will eat it will come from even window, eat it, and everybody is around coming after you. So I was so disciplined to hold myself accountable. Many ladies want to be my wife because I lost my wife in November 27, 2001. I'm not sure where I want to go on that subject because charity for me is still irrepressible. I taught her financial management. She came from almost average family, but I told her when she came to me that my grandfather called people like them people who fetch salt and leave it for the goat to eat. So you need to learn financial management. My wife would tell me to give her money to cook soup, I will say, can you bring a list? I'm not exaggerating. She will make a list like pepper, tomato, onion, oil. I will give her money, and I keep the list. She will cook. I say, can I have a list? God is my witness. When she wrote the list, I bring the old list, and I looked at them. And then I'm comparing. I see oil. I said, Charity, you bought oil last week. Why are you writing oil again? Do you think oil is Coca-Cola? As if she had drinking it. But she has to explain. We cooked young vegetable last week. So, you know, young vegetable take a lot of oil compared. So that's why the oil finished. I think good. I give her money. I taught her financial discipline in a painful way. She learned that to know that I compare lists. Before my wife became late, only 2 of us are signatory to account in Coscharis. Other people, 2 people will sign. But she can sign a loan, and I can sign a loan, no limit. My wife had a credit card that can draw $1 million. One credit card. She can spend $1 million on it. But how could I trust her that? Because she's learned financial discipline. She doesn't take that credit card to go to Gucci shop and spend money like she's running crazy. Because she learned the discipline from those things, and now the confidence has been built. She can write a check of 10 billion. After she demised, I just find out there are some people she, help that has so much money. Like what I was just going through her phone, and some of them sit on it. They never even told me. I confronted them. I said, my wife told me she lent you this amount of money, and you say you. I said, where's the money? He said, I should give her time that he didn't know that he would bring it. He hasn't brought it today. But so she owned her own salary, keep her own account, manage her own resources. So we built this campaign, holding ourselves accountable before bringing people to help us to run it. Apprenticeship, by the 5th year or 6th year, that boy is already matured. I'm looking for a system where instead of giving that boy a capital, the boss could call the boy and said, I'm giving you 20 million or 30. We've taken a stock. This 20 million represents 2% of this campaign. You will become a shareholder if you are accept, so that we can continue this business. Because that boy is skillful. He knows what to do. But in apprenticeship system, by the 6th year where that boy become an asset, you give him capital, set him up. So he start taking your customer. The next thing you see that boy growing up, his boss start going down. Because what happened is that by the 5th year, the boss has bought Mercedes. He now sleep a little bit, come to office by 10 o'clock, by 5 he go. But this boy is the button the customer know, entertain. So when he start, when customer come to buy, they go to his place and I give him the list of what they want to. It's only what that boy don't have that they come to buy from the boss. So you see the boy start growing up, his boss start going down. So apprenticeship system continue to create every 7 years champion. You learn this man is very big. By the 8th year, he start going down. His boys start going up. The same boy follow the same system. Take boys again, settle them. By the time he settle his boy, the 2nd year, his boy is going up, he's going down. So there's inconsistency. There's no growth level that continue. Can you imagine if that boy become part owner of that business and use that scale? It's even much easier for him because the difficulties of starting from ground zero, he would have overcome and grow that business to where, because 1% of lucky fella is still better than 100% of Coscharis group. But some people don't realize it. We want to be head of an ant instead of being a tail of a cow. So that head you are running to, ask yourself, what does it deliver to you? What do you get from it at the end of the day? So you can form a partnership. I'm also a great advocate of partnership, especially at setup level. If you want to know, I had 4 partnerships that I did before Coscharis was born. My first partner was my senior brother. Maduka brothers. My second partner was a friend of mine, Edwin Uzochukwu, who is late. My third partner was Benson Elodimore, C and B. My fourth partner was David Imosu. We have a company called Cos Dave, which Cos and David. It was at the end of Cos Dave that I established Coscharis. Coscharis is a combination name of my name and my wife. My wife is Charity. My name is Cosmas. So I don't want to call it Coscharity, so you look local. So I call it Coscharis. So people thought it was Greek. During the time of import license in 1981, they were giving 10 motor company license because I've incorporated Coscharis motor. So they did Leventis motor, UTC motor, you know, this other motor, Coscharis motor appear number 7. I got import license. There's something about name, about structuring your business. And that made us unprecedented profit. It was like in error. People thought you must bribe in Nigeria. I didn't bribe. I didn't know anybody. My wife told me that our name appear number 7 on the list. I was in Japan. I told her it cannot be true. He told me it's true. And it was a seller's market. We can fix our price. People are buying. You suddenly say, stop, stop. This is what people are doing. They are joking that, okay, the phone is no more 20,000. The price is at 8,000. The next person say, can I get 200? Instantly, the same day, we were like manufacturing money. People who do drug never made that kind of money, but legitimate money. So you can structure your place so that God can come on it, the things you've planned. I think I need to stop because it's almost 10 o'clock. So if you can ask questions. God bless.
I don't really know what to say. This is not master's class.
Yeah.
This is more than master's class.
Yeah,
Because everything that is being said here is in a seed form. You can open it up. But we're going to do something very quickly. We're going to take a question and answer. But before then, we're compiling our names, refer to WhatsApp name, all right, and you name your WhatsApp name so that we can listen to this program. We're recording, no doubt, we're recording. So once we are done with that, we can push it to our respective contacts. Please, we don't want to do anything with your name, it's just for the purpose of this. Secondly, while I was talking about it, he has repeatedly said system structure, system structure, system structure. I think early days when I wanted to learn about system, of course I tried as much as I could then. The little I could just lay hands on some materials until I came in contact with somebody and I practiced it, did it to a point that it's like he can talk about it while sleeping. And he put up the materials, and then it was very expensive. So we bought it then. I think I bought mine 50,000. It was on a promo price. All right, that's Pastor Godwin, and I think it's still available, sir.
Yes.
Still available. System and structures. So Dr. Cosmas may not go into detail, but he will be using that word repeatedly: system process, system process, system process. Someone will just think, let me just, if you try system, you don't understand system, you crack. That's the truth. You need what we call systematic knowledge to run system. All right, so his material helped me a great deal. In fact, while he was talking, it dropped in my heart. I said, I whispered to him, I said, do we still have this? All right, we can make it available. I think, I don't know how much.
On the website.
It's on the website, all right, PGWin.
Yes.
Right, PGWin.com. PGWin.com. You can log in and then we'll now take it up from there. So we're going to take questions, all right? Part of the things we're doing here is that this is a commotion of materials. All the resource persons here, I'm sure everybody has different materials. But these 3 days, we're going to be here. We've prayed about it, we fasted about it. It's not just a normal thing.
Thank you so much.
For him to be here, it's not a joke. Can I tell you something? This meeting was on hold since December. We are planning it, waiting for him for his approval. December last year. I told them, our team leaders, I said, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So until I spoke with Pastor Phil, I said I should give him some time. That this, okay. We were waiting. In fact, it got to a time that it was approaching when I decided, can we do the big one and put it? Well, they said, no, don't try it. When I said, we've not done this before, can't start learning how to do 419 or whatever it call it a ministry floor. Yeah, understand. So we're so happy to have him here. So we can take up a few questions. All right. Check question. Please, if they ask you a question or what looks like your question, you learn from that question so that we will not keep repeating things. Okay. So the floor is open. If you have a question, you indicate by raising up your hand. All right. Who is the first person who is going to take? All right. 1, 2. Okay.
Let's call them first so that we don't just get 5 people.
Okay. Okay. Let's get 5. 1, 2. Any other person? If you don't have a question, you relax. If your question has been answered while he was talking, I'm sure. So we can start from you, sir. We can start from you. Ask your question. Please make it brief, straight to the point.
Thank you very much, sir. Doctor. So, blessed. From 4 years ago, when I started an organization, the Coscharis Foundation, I told them that I will look for Dr. Maduka, the husband. And one of these days, when he comes to talk to the youth, I run an NGO here in the Coscharis Foundation.
What's the question?
Yeah. So, my question is, how would you advise non-governmental organizations to raise funds for their operation?
Okay, yes. Let's have the other question so that see if there's the one that overlaps, so I don't.
Introduce yourself, your name, what you do, then straight to the point.
Good.
Okay, so my question is, what do you advise someone who, out of ignorance, started using business capital to start giving a hostel?
Yeah.
And at the point in time, you notice that he's shaking his business.
Sure.
Is at the point of completing this hostel or to go and start his business? So after my marriage, I said, it's like, I have to sell this.
Sure.
So I don't know what your advice.
Okay, I think I'll take those two because it's very interesting. The first question, how can I advise you to raise a capital? I'm not a magician. I'll be very honest to you to say, I know it's easier to raise capital when you could take something from grant position where you can tell somebody, because business is what I'm into, that I started selling water with 5,000 naira. I've taken this water business to 50,000 naira turnover. I want to sell also ice cream, and I've studied this ice cream. If somebody can give me additional 100,000 or 2, I can make 300,000 turnover. The person will look at the things you are telling him, that you took 5,000 naira and you brought that business to 50,000, substantial things he can relate to. He can take a risk on you to say the same sense with which you do this, you will do the other one, and you will not jump out. It's easy to support you with capital. But to say, I'm running an NGO, I want to raise a capital, frankly, I don't know the model that works on it. But I know that if there's something you start and you are doing it in a sustainable manner and the inhibition is capital and you know what to do, fund will meet you if you are passionate about that to take it to another level. That I am sure. To a young man, you are not only, it's not you only that is in that. Very many of us starting as young people make that mistake. And that's what we call working hard to defy your gratification. That's part of the things I tell you, that once people see money passing through your hand, there are agents who are there to show you land every day. This land is for sale. This land is for sale. You know, the bank can tell you, you know, you can borrow money and bring collateral. I also borrowed money. The first money I borrowed in African Continental Bank, ACB, was 1,000 naira. And I told if I turn over, the bank will give me money. I rushed to my store. I didn't even sell anything. Before the bank closed, I went to pay 250 naira. The following day, I went to pay 150 naira because I'm trying to turn up. So I was doing that. The bank were collecting commission. By the 4th month, the 1,000 naira remained 750. I put my 2 hands in the air and said, Shay, is that how they borrow money from the bank? I tried and went back and paid the 1,000 bank to African Continental. And I made up my mind that I would never borrow from bank. You may be surprised if you know where Coscharis Plaza is in Adiolo Deco in Victoria Island. Till I built that building, I never borrowed from any bank. I plowed back every income we earn into the business and started generating internal revenue. But when I started hiring staff, I wanted to put them on the spot, because if they only trade with my money and we are making big profit, because I also have what we call profit sharing scheme in my company, they will be taking profit from my hard work. So I wanted us to borrow money and pay interest so I can put money in some other investment so they know whether they are really creating wealth or not. It is after we built that building that we started borrowing money from the bank. But many young people make mistake to show they have arrived, put money into this other thing. What I do advise sincerely is that your capital is part of your intelligence. If you know what you are doing in the business, you need all the cash. This is your life stream. That is the blood of every business. Forget about assets you have. You can have all the assets. If you are not liquid, you run bankruptcy. Cash is a king in business. So if you have asset to sell, please sell it. I'm not advising you from... When I separated with my former partner, David Musu, we have a prime property in Onitsha, almost opposite to Kawu, the land there. He talked about, I said, if you like, buy my own, that I'm ready to sell it. I sold it to Dalgo. I put the cash into my business because I need cash to really expand that business, to really make it what it will be. If you are not liquid, you will default in your obligation. You create suspicions in the mind of your creditors. They become, and once they start closing up on you, tighten up. But if you are liquid, nobody can. Actually, today people think I am the richest man in Africa. No, I have good credit. The best thing you can get is free fund. It's called supplier's credit. Supplier's credit is where people entrust things in your hand. Even Ford Motor Company consigned vehicle to me. BMW, people thought I print money. During Koja, I had over 1,000 cars I gave Nigerian government to run Kojas. I pay after 270 days. I built my business. The least people that give me the lowest credit is the Japanese, and that is 45 days from the date of bill of lading. I didn't pick it on the street. I built it. I want people to know that I'm credible and that your things are safe in my hand, and that under any circumstances, if I make a commitment to you on the day of payment, that I will pay. I didn't pick it on the street. It's not somebody I tell people, believe me now, believe me now. Nobody wants to believe you. People want to see action that they will believe. I hired a guy from bank, the first bank staff that I hired, Josiah Samuel. Exchange rate moved from 20 naira to 80 naira in one day. And we need to make a payment on the 28th of that month. If we made it about 25 years ago, I would lose 100 million naira. He told me, let's explain this to people, that this is a phenomenon. Everybody know that this just happened overnight. It's not our problem. I said, sorry, we don't talk like that in Coscharis. We committed to this man that will pay him on the 28th. He did not do business with Nigerian government. He did business with us. I took a head cut of 100 million. 100 million naira 25 years ago for me is like 20 billion today or more. But I paid. If you read my book, he said he got a shock of his life coming from banking industry, that I had that attitude. This attitude makes me today. They tell you Chinese don't give anybody credit. You must pay 30%. When you pay 30%, then they will ship before they give you bill of lading. Chinese give me 120 days from the date of bill of lading. If you're a Chinese working with me today, all my Chinese suppliers give me credit. Because all I need to do is, I said, can you take reference from BMW? Can you take reference from KG International? Can you take reference from this? If you want to work with us, that this is our condition. We don't pay for anything. We trade with people's money. And when all this money passed through bank, I never want to, people at a time growing up, based on this discipline I have, people don't know what I want when I was still living in Ajegule. And the story went out that I used juju to make money, that any day I build a house in Lagos, I will die. I told people, don't be afraid. My wife told me that people said that. I told her, I said, if I need to die, I have to die. But I will never take the capital I'm doing business to go and build a house to be able to manage people's stealing.
Hi. Hi.
Because, to manage people's stealing, that's why I have to put myself in bondage. Everybody is entitled to his opinion. God gave it to you. It's your right to think like that. But that should not program me. I told my wife, I said, instead of going to use 1 billion to build a house to say I live in Ikoyi, why not I rent a house in Ikoyi? Even if I'm paying 100 million, if I take 10 billion and put it in the bank at 28% interest, I'll be getting 280 million every year. So I can take 150 and pay for rent, then I'm still making capital. If I'm going to build a house, I'm going to build it out of comfort. I eventually bought property. I live in Ikoyi, in a very prime property. That the price is over $10 million. And I built a good house. If you come to my house, you know it's a good house. But I built it without my business blinking one day. I will never compromise that for the business. So it had to come from sustainable income. Why are you in a hurry to show that you have arrived? Those buildings you made does not generate any income to you. It's just for people to think you have had money, and then they will all come on your neck to bring some of that money. Except the story of Capital Oil, nobody knew who I am. I built the building in, people were saying, who is this Coscharis? What did they do? They said that company that played table tennis. It was the issue. Because we were not even selling motor then. But people don't know that my business is pharmaceutical of automobile. Anybody that drives car in Nigeria is my customer. I'm happy if the cars are on the road. If you have accident, that is even the best. There are 2 paint companies that supply paint around the world. Both of them are under my company. Separate company. They don't know, but I own the other company. Somebody else run it for me. Japanese don't give dealership of their product for 2 people, for the same brand, for the same item, for the same company. Only like in some Muslim country that there's only one government, they know they only through that person they will sell because they want competition. But the 3 component manufacturer in Japan, we represent 3 of them in Nigeria. I now own a company in Japan who buy where Toyota buy. The OEM are my suppliers, and I am in charge of those products in Nigeria. So what I'm trying to tell you is that capital, cash is a king to your business. And I will advise you, sell that property and inject cash into your business. You can always purchase property tomorrow if you know what you are doing. But if you are selling property to speculate, I will say don't do. But if you know you have a going concern that need capital, support it with capital. Because that business will generate you enough income to buy things that you need to buy tomorrow. Don't starve the business because some people have emotional attachment. God forbid. If even till today that I'm Coscharis, if you offer me, said, you know, this is my house in Ikoyi, can you leave it? You know, I need to take it over and I pay you $50 million. I'll tell you, do you need the wardrobes also? Because the money you are giving me is not a sand, and I have sense to create capital. You give me that money, I know I can, you know, triple it in few years and buy another property. So I have no emotional attachment to any asset, provided I know what I'm doing. I can take that money and invest it back into the business, because you can always purchase property. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Please, I don't know what to say again, because I want to digest one. Another one is coming. I want to digest. So the best we can do to this is, as we have created that group, we're going to send the recorded edition of all that the doctor have said. And in addition to that, we need to allow him to rest. But if we have one more question, we can take just one more question. The things he has said, I don't think, he doesn't call for question.
No, it's no.
Just go sit down. And just, he has given us a blueprint that you can run with in the next 10, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You will not recover from it. Because
Yeah,
I don't know how we run with information. But
Yeah.
one, can run with one in the next 10 years. I've not, like, you know, so when I met you, that was 2021, immediately after COVID. You understand? What that training has produced, I was sharing with my organ.
Please don't mention the amount again.
I don't want to mention them. You know, that's just what I do. So, what Doc have shared with us this evening, I don't know about us, but I'm seeing a blueprint of the next 20, 30 years. If you sit down, you'll be chunking them out.
That's right.
You'll just be chunking them out, because these are raw materials.
Yeah.
You understand? So the byproducts are going to be enormous. Byproducts will be in billions. The byproduct will be in houses.
Amen.
The byproduct will be in multiple dimensions. So, Doc, thank you so much. So, do you want to ask a question, Chidi? Oh, 3 people. God help us. Doc, you answer us briefly, because each question is like one lecture. You understand?
Yeah.
Each question takes us into another dimension.
Let's have 3 of them together and
let's
see
have
how
3
we
of
can
them
summarize
together.
it.
Okay. Your name and
Thank you so much. My name is Chidebere.
Chidebere, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for your time. You're a man of wisdom.
Thank you.
Sir, I play in the fashion space.
Okay.
I produce men's boxers, and we sell in Nigeria. The business is a gold mine.
Sure.
It has not been tapped into. But currently, sir, the challenge we are having is that our margin of profit is very slim.
Okay.
We are spending much on energy. We are spending much on some of the materials we are bringing from China for our branding process. So, as a strategy for the company, we are thinking towards exportation.
Okay.
Because I've done my market research. Some big brands like Marks and Spencer, Old Navy, they sell at premium. Although I know that they spend so much for the market. So now, my questions are all, what I want to know from you, from your experiences, if I want to move to the international space, where they may have more superior products because of machinery and process, how can we tactically move into that space?
Okay.
Because, let me give you a background, sir. If you do 1,000 units, and I sell only 100 pieces in America, I'll make the profit of producing over 5,000 units.
But you have to sell the quality that will be accepted in America.
So I will need your direction.
Okay.
okay, that's the first question. Second question. Okay.
Good evening, how are you?
Thank you so much for all the insights you've shared.
Thank you.
I came in from Abuja for this meeting today.
Thank you.
It's always been a dream to meet you.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm glad it has happened.
Welcome.
I work in the nutrition and wellness space.
Okay.
I identify as an herbalist.
Okay.
And I create wellness solutions
Yeah.
for people using local and homegrown herbs and agricultural products. Now, when you talked about, I watched a video of you where you were speaking and you said in 1970s, I think 76 or so, you went to America.
Yeah.
And you came back.
Yes.
And people were asking if you were crazy.
Yeah.
That why didn't you stay?
Sure.
I think I'm at that point in my business. So everybody is saying, what is giving this lady the audacity to be running, because we have products that are NAFDAC approved, nutrition and wellness products. They are saying, these things we are doing here, can't you see that businesses in this sector, they are closing down? And then you are putting your everything, because I gave myself a time frame. I said I want to work on Nature First full time for 20 years. I've done 6. And, you know, so there's this head syndrome. Everybody is saying, why are you doing this thing? So that thing you were hearing that time, I'm hearing it now.
Sure.
So I want to ask, is there no time your mind was shaking?
Sure.
Because I tried to be strong, but
Yeah.
in fact, when I was leaving home this morning,
Yeah.
I was telling my husband that pray to God to help my mind.
That's correct.
So how do you rise above the noise?
Sure.
Especially when you are seeing, some people say if you come to US with this knowledge that you have,
Yep.
we have Nigerian markets in the US, you'll be healing them, you know? So how do you rise above the noise?
Sure.
Especially when you set this target
Sure.
for yourself.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
You're
The last
welcome.
question.
Good question.
Gideon.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Your name?
My name is Gideon Ezra.
Okay.
I play in oil and gas sector.
Okay.
And I've built a good relationship with some bank manager in Lagos. I've done some transactions with people that purchase. But I have not gotten a new company that I can market their products. Those that have gotten, they either demand for BEC, bank endorsement check, they ask you to raise 1 billion naira and send to the bank, something like that. And I couldn't do that. So most of the times I'll get somebody, but at the end of the day, it's be that they have sold the product. So can your office help me or recommend me to any company I can market their product? Or there are confirmed buyers for it?
Sure.
Relationship of bank manager.
Okay. The questions are a little similar, but I'll try the best to, because they're all, dynamics in their own area. From Anyanwu, the first person that asked the question, I usually tell people, don't get into any business you do not have a competitive advantage over as a starting point. Have a clear goal where you are going, but start from your competitive advantage. Now, how you manage resources you earn, but keep the big picture. Let me tell you, with no ambiguity, God knows I'm telling you the truth. Owning a company in Japan today was not an accident. It's a life dream. Borrowing on a negative pledge is not an accident. Because it's a clear goal, you will know when to turn the corner to reach that. But if you never plan for it, you can get there and you will not know what to do. One of the things that really launched me to reach this place out was some shares I bought. I trade, but I also invest in a company. When MTN came to Nigeria, I put $5 million in MTN. The first 1 year they operated in Nigeria, they made $1 billion profit. When a dividend is coming, it's like $680,000, $800,000, on one dividend. It was like we are printing money. You could put investment in some things that can launch you. It was some share of bank that I sold. When I sold those shares, people told me, well, let's purchase another one. I told them, let me shop this one first of all. Because I have a clear goal that I want to move from trading, from borrowing. I could have exhibited another greed. Some of my friends went back to the stock market because that share that I was telling you I sold for 8 naira per unit, later traded back at 2 naira. And what I call it is transferring of wealth, because God promised in the last day that the wealth of the Gentile will transfer to the hands of the children of God. So the money come back to me and the thing went back to the price where it. But I never did anything illegal because I follow legitimate market share. I didn't even offer these people that decided to buy and pay the right price for that day. So what I will tell you, yes, America give you a competitive advantage. I used to own a company in America. The company name is CC Mabis. My office is in Columbus, Ohio, number 11 Lamp Avenue. But when you get into this kind of matured market, people don't know that average company that is start a new business in Nigeria, over 60% of them close door in the first 5 years. If you do business successful 5 years in America without closing door, you get a congratulation from the a different business support. Because it's a system that is matured. There's no place you have a competitive advantage like you have in Africa, because it's like a cassava field. It's a bush that needs to be developed. The other place is maintenance that they are doing. They already developed. So to really break through in such matured market can be more difficult, but it's not impossible. And if you actually break through in that market, your acceleration of growth is unprecedented, because there are purchase capacity in that market to buy whatever you are selling. So what I tell people is start from Africa, where you have competitive advantage, and then start taking risk of testing those markets. I have ambition. There's something I've never tried to do. I played in the American stock market. I lost money in NASDAQ. I won't tell you that. I wanted to make a movie in America. I paid for screenplay. They tell me this movie hit market with $50 million. I made $500 million. Nobody tell you about the other 2,000 that went under the ground. So I played in America. At the time, I told myself, why should I be making money in Africa and come to lose it in this place? Let me stay where my competitive advantage is and where I am strong. So there's nothing wrong to go into that market. What I will advise you, but it's a very complex market, but can make you success that is unprecedented. If you want to play into that market, look for investors locally here. Because I don't know whether it's still in existence now, because there was like Agua program that when things are made in Africa, it was, I think, it was the man, the American, Bill Clinton, that put it in place, will be shipped into United States under free duty. So there's advantage to import from Africa. But what some of us Nigeria did then was to import something from China and repackage it to ship into America. And they bound it because they are not telling them to export their job or lose their money to China. They wanted to help Africa create business. So if you find a good investors who believe in you, who you can share your business plan with, unfortunately, there's no venture capitalists in Nigeria, but there are still people who own money, who are looking for people who have idea what to do, because the interest rate in the bank are not commensurate to some of the things that they can create, okay? Somebody can take a risk by helping you get the right material so that you can get the quality to acceptable level. If you get the quality to acceptable level, you have advantage to ship to Walmart and all of these people better than the China will ship. But the quality must be accepted to American standard. And like you said, you can sell at a premium in that market comparing to what you are doing here. So it should be part of your plan, but it should not be where you start. It's something you keep in view. As you are making money and having a substantial things you can show people to get them. Part of the problem we have, Africa, is that we always tell people, can you loan me money? We hardly say, can you invest into my business? We hardly say, because we are always afraid that somebody is going to share from our profit. A man that is taking a financial risk and putting money in your company can create something for you, because at the end of the day, he will share from your profit. But if he loses, he lost his capital. He is the person who is taking risk. It's an idea that you are bringing. But you can share this idea with people and say, look, I've taken this thing from ground zero to here. I needed additional funding to take it to ground B. Put money in this business. My intellectual capital will be this, but this is the kind of profit we'll create. This is what I've been able to do. in the last 2 years, so that you know I'm not just coming from the bruise, that I have something substantial. Somebody can take a risk on you. I'm not telling you I will be the person. But if you also want to know, I took risk on some people's business. There's a young man that just finished in soccer, but while he's in the university, was into electronics, doing something that is creative and wonderful. I put 600 million naira in his business, and I know where he's going today. I've put money into some other people's business, not even only in this country. There's a young man currently now in Zimbabwe. I put about $3 million in his business. But we are running a business of today about $120 million out of that. And we have potential now to take that business from what it's looking for to in the next 5 years to about $1 billion. So I take risk in people's businesses, but I have to see possibilities that are there. So I don't invest blindly, but I'm a capitalist. So, and that means, and because if I stay completely in Nigeria, I cannot grow beyond Nigeria economy, and this economy had a limit. You can't be better than that. So you must take a risk to move outside where opportunity provides itself. But I still see more better opportunity in other African countries. So today I do business in Ghana, I do business in Cote d'Ivoire, I do business in Gabon, I do business in, but be sure God is telling you to immigrate. Can God tell you to immigrate? Yes, he does. He told Joseph, take this child and the mother and go to Egypt. He also told them when to come back. Then people sometimes migrate with free will, but we have also seen those or one who left full and came back empty. So be sure you have this thing settled with God. So I'm not saying totally you cannot go anywhere, but I'm telling people, if you don't know the principle of wealth creation, changing a location has not changed you. You need to start here, and you can build something. Today's world is a global village. You can expand your business to any level you want to. But if you think you have the resources, because changing a location or migrate has also some inconvenience that come with it. It's easy for everybody to tell you to come, as if once you come, they are going to, resettle you. But you need to go through the adaptation and all of those things, and then find a way to begin to take it. So I'm not saying don't go, but if you want to know, the question you asked me is, did I ever doubt myself? The obvious answer is yes. There are times I felt like throwing in towel in my initials. When we talk about success, we tell you the story. It's like we are born and became successful. I'm sure it's something that will shock some of you, that I have gone through bankruptcy before, one or two. That you go through it is not the end. You need to fall below ground before you rise up again. I have started business where I am owing landlord. I could not pay for my business shop. I could not pay for my house rent. Justice Ubezono is the man who owns the shop where I trade. If you meet an angry landlord, you will know it's the worst thing that can happen to you. I started Justice Ubezono coming, I hid under the counter. He came and told the boy, where's Coscharis? He said, I'm not there. So he's not there. Come out, let me lock the shop. When I hear the name, I saw a guy, I'm here. I thought he's going to change his mind. He said, oh, yeah, come out. He still drove me out and locked up the shop. But he was alive to see me become a billionaire. So if you have gone through financial discipline, I have gone through. But that dogged determination in me, when the ship gets down that I didn't own anything, somebody had come for my wedding and gave me a weighing scale. And I was thinking to be creative. I took this weighing scale and went to the market at Nkwanewe, dropped it on the floor. I climbed. I came down and said 70 kg. Who want to weigh his weight? People, I said, line up. The first person want to grab, I said, it's 10 kobo. Everything is business. I started collecting money from weighing people. Some people feel that. And look at cause where Jesus the millionaire is carrying scale. It's not the person that laughed today that matter. You see that laugh last. Anything that is legitimate to create wealth, I did. That's why I tell some brothers who sit back looking for white-collar job and do nothing and let their wife to go and work like Jackie. They sleep all the day. Once she caught up, their manhood get up and just say they can. I say, if you need to carry cheat, carry cheat. Go and make money. You're a brother. You can't allow your wife to work like Jackie. You only know how to climb on top of her when she come back. Go get something doing. Money doesn't smell shit. You don't. Nobody give you money. Say, let me look. Did you carry shit? I don't want to touch the money. Anything you do that is legitimate is a good thing until that thing comes. God bless you.
Thank you.
My last friend, sorry, I don't know who to recommend you to, but one thing I can tell you is that if you are doing something, I have always advised people, start small. Be able to do something in a consistent level that will convince people you know what to do. And I can tell you, there are people today who are our customers, frankly, who buy from us, that will give credit 100 million, 200 million, as much as even 500 million. You create an avenue for sales. People want to sell. Usually, if I'm speaking in Lagos, I take it there. It's called From Trial to Triumph, Coscharis story, the story of Cosmos and Charity. So it tells more about me. So if you can coordinate it, we can use one side to send it down, and I will send it to my office in Ebonyi or Enugu here, and you guys could go there and collect it and distribute to